afternoon. I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday, October 23rd. Bluff ISD hosted its first ever State of the District event yesterday. The event celebrated student success while outlining future growth and bond-funded projects. This year, voters approved the district's latest bond, only the fourth in Flower Bluff ISD's century-plus history. Superintendent Chris Steinbrook told KRAS 6 News some of the projects funded by the bond, including upgrades to the baseball and softball fields, are already underway. He added that the district is focused on integrity and maintaining the community's trust.
Only passing 4 bonds in 132 years, there's no way you can get all caught up with one, right? So we've got to take care of and build that trust with the community, stretch every dollar so that in the event in the future we do need something, the community's going to support us again.
That was Steinbrook speaking to KRAS 6 News. He said updates on bond projects are shared in the district's newsletter, which is released after every school board meeting. It's available online at flowerbluffschools.net. Brownsville City Manager Helen Ramirez will resign from the municipality at the end of this year. She offered her resignation to the Brownsville City Commission at this week's regularly scheduled meeting. She plans to spend more time with family due to medical circumstances. As Brownsville's first female city manager, she has achieved unprecedented levels of success within the past 3 years. She began in 2019 as deputy city manager. During her tenure, the city of Brownsville has achieved historic milestones and initiatives, including implementation of the One City philosophy, the expansion of the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport, and the launch of the city's Parks, Health, and Recreation Master Plan, and the initiation of the city's first Housing Master Plan, as well as a $300 million capital improvement plan. The City Commission is expected to name an interim city manager on December 19th following Ramirez's departure. Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino Jr. shared the 2026 Starbase Local Impact Report yesterday. The report provided by SpaceX shares the impact brought to Cameron County by Starbase operations, including Starship launches. In the latest report, there was a reported increase in local suppliers and local supply chain spending. The gross economic market value of Starbase in the Rio Grande Valley increased to $13 billion, a 50% increase from its previous report. More than 24,000 local jobs have been supported, with a $305 million increase in indirect taxes. In a press release, Trevino credits the economic growth to SpaceX moving its headquarters from California to Starbase in the Rio Grande Valley. Early voting for the November 4th election continues through next week, and Valley Central News reports that Hidalgo County has had about 1,600 voters across 29 polling locations in the county cast their ballots since early voting began this week. Meanwhile, in Cameron County, over 900 have voted throughout the 21 polling locations. More than 200 of those have voted at the Brownsville Public Library since Monday. Early voting will run through October 31st. Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. In addition to local races and propositions, ballots across the state will feature 17 proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution. For more information, you can request a nonpartisan voters guide from the League of Women Voters of Texas. More information can be found online at the League of Women Voters of Corpus Christi area, Victoria, and Rio Grande Valley's websites, respectively. 25 News Now reports that Victoria County Elections Administrator Margetta Hill submitted her retirement notice to the Commissioner's Court this past Tuesday. The Victoria County Elections Commission will meet on October 28th at 2 p.m. to accept her retirement notice and discuss plans to fill the Elections Administrator position. The meeting will happen at 115 North Bridge Street in room 241 on the second floor. Gas prices are falling in Texas and across the country. As the Texas Newsroom's Lucio Vasquez reports, fuel prices are expected to remain lower than last year's average.
According to AAA, the statewide average for a gallon of regular gas in Texas right now is about $2.59, nearly 15 cents lower than this time a year ago. Daniel Armbruster is with AAA Texas.
Prices will be a little bit lower likely this fall than they were last year.
Armbruster says much of the decline comes from falling crude oil prices, which make up about half the cost of gas. Prices also tend to dip in winter when road travel slows and refineries switch to cheaper to produce winter blend gasoline.
With those factors, they point to at least lower prices compared to a year ago, at least maybe by 25 cents.
The downward trend is also being felt nationally. I'm Lucio Vasquez in Houston.
President Trump has nominated Texas Republican Senator Brian Birdwell to be an Assistant Secretary of Defense. As the Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey reports, the nomination still needs approval from the U.S. Senate.
The role of Assistant Secretary of Defense is usually filled by retired military leaders. Birdwell fits that description. He served more than 20 years in the U.S. Army and retired as a lieutenant colonel. He's stepping into this role after having announced earlier this year that he would not run for re-election. He's represented Granbury in the Texas Senate since 2010. As a state senator, he chaired the Senate Committee on Border Security and often sponsored bills supporting veterans. If confirmed, Birdwell would act as the Pentagon's link between military leaders and civilian officials. In Austin, I'm Blaze Gainey.
A subsidy that makes marketplace health coverage affordable for more people is set to expire at the end of the year. KERA's Abigail Ruman reports Texans may not know that their coverage will be affected.
Affordable Care Act enrollment in Texas grew after the enhanced premium tax credit was introduced, from about $1.3 million in 2021 to $4 million this year. Lynn Coles with the advocacy group Every Texan says people may see premiums increase substantially for 2026. She's worried about the almost 2 million Texans who auto-renewed their plans last year.
They probably picked a plan in 2021 or 2022, and it's just been rolling over for the past years. And in a lot of these cases, people have rolled over plans with $0 monthly premiums.
Cole says people may be kicked off for non-payment without knowing their premium increased. I'm Abigail Ruman in Dallas.
The sprawling new Texas school law, Senate Bill 12, is called a parental rights bill by its authors. It requires, among other things, parental permission for their children to receive physical or mental health services. But school nurses across the state say the new law is confusing. And as KERA's Bill Ziebel reports, they're worried it could put their jobs in jeopardy.
Lisa Sutter's a guardian for her great-granddaughter Carmen in the Carrollton Farmers Branch School District. One day last month, the 7-year-old told Sutter she went to the school nurse and was turned away.
She says, there's some form you have to sign because they wouldn't let me stay in the nurse's office today. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Carmen was talking about a form required by SB 12. Sutter had already signed the district's own permission slip, but the new law demanded new signatures before any student could legally receive care. Sutter hadn't signed that form yet. Carmen has type 1 diabetes, requires insulin, and therefore already qualifies for a nurse's attention. Sutter complained to the school board during a September meeting.
We have a district that appears to have required denial of care until a form was signed. The over-lawyered interpretations are concerning.
The law is concerning to nurses too, not because of the bill itself, but in part because of unclear wording in a paragraph or two out of the 38-page document. The National Association of School Nurses and the Texas Nurses Association said in a joint statement last month, the law has, quote, created significant and immediate challenges for districts, families, and health professionals. Jack Frazee, general counsel for the Texas Nurses Association, says much of the confusion revolves around the term health care services and health-related services. They may sound the same, he says, but they're not.
And there's different requirements depending on whether you're delivering a health care service or a health-related service. And it wasn't always clear what services fell into which term.
School nurses, as a result, worry they might break the new law without realizing it. Becca Harkleroad is executive director of the Texas School Nurses Organization. She says it's getting in the way of caring for kids.
While the language about what was a health service was very vague in the law was very clear that if you provided any services without written consent, disciplinary action was coming your way. So that gave a lot of people pause.
Some of those people include school administrators across North Texas. Wendy Eldridge is the superintendent of Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD, where Lisa Sutter's great-granddaughter goes to school.
There has been a lot of confusion, and I don't think it was defined clearly from the beginning.
SB 12 authors, State Representative Jeff Leach and Senator Brandon Creighton, acknowledged the confusion and urged simple common sense when it comes to providing basic care. So did Lisa Sutter when she addressed the Carrollton Farmers Branch School Board.
I don't think they're using common sense applying this for everyday stuff. I read the bill, and based on everything I see, I don't believe it covers Band-Aids and ice packs. I don't believe it. Not one thing I saw in there tells me that.
But to be on the safe side, Sutter has since signed the SB 12 permission form. And to clear up any ongoing confusion, the bill's authors have asked the Texas Education Agency for consistent and clear guidance on how to implement the law so schools and nurses know they're complying with it. Jack Frazee says that's what the TEA is now working on.
Those details, when do you notify and how does that happen and do you need consent beforehand? Those were the things that even nurses were confused about based on the way the bill was written. And that's what we're trying to get clarity in.
Frazee expects to see what the TEA comes up with later this month or in November. I'm Bill Ziebel in Dallas.
And I'm Rob Boskamp. That is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. Stick around, your community arts calendar and more is on the way.